Okay, it's 6 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to Deborah's Pizzeria. We're going to make fraction pizzas tonight that you can make with your kids. And we are going to, this is primarily for first, second graders, but you can use it at any age, especially to help those kids with fractions of understanding halves and fourths. A little prep work that I've done ahead of time is this is a great bulletin board idea. So I have taken paper plates and glued them onto construction paper. So you can get that done ahead of time because it's just easier than having to try and have 30 little ones screeching at you and having to hold them down. I hot glued them. It's a lot easier than using white glue or paste or glue sticks. But also for tonight, for time saving purposes, I have put on, I'm going to use hot glue just to make things a little speedier and faster. So the first thing you're going to need is you are going to need your crust, and you do that in brown paper. And you're going to need one of those for everybody. You are going to need your cheese in yellow paper. So I'm going to make my first pizza first. And the first pizza I'm going to make is the half. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out and I'm always looking for ways to improve this lesson. So I think for tonight, I'm going to try some improving techniques with you guys to see how I like it to improve it with my first graders for this year, because we haven't done this lesson yet, and we're actually getting ready to do it soon. So I'm going to do it with you guys. So I'm going to put my crust there, put my crust down. And your cheese is smaller, so don't worry about that. So now I'm cutting out my cheese. And your toppings that you can have your students make is pepperonis and bell peppers and olives and mushrooms. So they can create their favorite kind of pizza out of those toppings. The reason they have those toppings is because those are the most appealing and the easiest to cut out. So, because I'll show you in a minute why those are the easiest. So I have my crust and my cheese, and I'm going to put those together. And for this project, I would use white glue. So I've put my pieces together. And this is another good lesson to talk about even and odd numbers. And the reason you're going to talk about even and odd numbers is because, especially when you're doing in the half, you want an even number of things. Because I'm going to start with my pepperoni because my husband loves pepperoni. So I'm going to take my strip of construction paper, and the measurements are all on the directions. And if anybody wants a copy of this lesson, please just let me know and I'll bring a copy on Tuesday. So you just kind of snip around. They just say round the corners. So here's one pepperoni. The pepperoni aren't always the same size. I'm going to make 6 pepperoni tonight for my husband's pizza. Two. Three. Four. Five. And number 6. So I have my pizza here, and I said this pizza was going to be a half. So I'm going to take my pizza. And I wanted to fold it into a half. So I got a even half. This way my kids I don't have to pull out a ruler or anything, and I can I don't have to pull out rulers and have first graders try and measure a half. So I have 6, and 6, my kids can tell you it's half of 6 is 3. Or I can take my 2 halves and I can put and go 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So both halves are exactly the same. So they're equal. And when you talk about fractions, you want them to be equal parts. You don't want them to be one side bigger than the other. You want fractions have to be equal. So you want both sides of your pizza to be equal because you don't want your sister to have more than you. So you want both sides to be equal. So you want equal pieces. So I'm going to glue that on to my pizza plate. So here I have halves. So I have I have a half a pizza here and half a pizza here. So they are halves. So this is another way to teach vocabulary too. So here is my half of a pizza, and they are also called halves. So that's my half a pizza. My next pizza is going to be fourths. So again, I'm going to cut out my crust. And I'm going to cut out my cheese. And the one thing I like about this activity is it even tells you what color to copy them onto. And I am a veggie person on my pizza. So I'm going to make a veggie pizza. So again, I'm going to glue my cheese on top of my crust. And I'm going to put bell peppers. So what you do is you cut out a square, a rectangle, and you cut an arch, and then you cut it again. So you have a really thin piece. And again, remind your kids you want to keep it in even numbers, because if even numbers is how pizzas are, in this case, this is how pizzas are. And since you're dealing with 4, you might want to talk about 4 because halves are pretty easy, but 4, you might just want to have them do 4 mushrooms and 4 pieces of whatever they're putting on. So if they're doing pepperonis, do 4 pepperonis. So that way they're putting 1 on each piece. So I'm going to just do 4. But if you're doing this with second graders, where they are understanding some division, or you're doing this with upper grades where you're dividing it into 8ths, you can have them do it. You can have them do it with higher numbers. But for my little guys, if they're going to do 4ths, I'm only going to have them do 1 of each because it's easier. Because again, you're going to have kids that are making it with pepperoni and bell peppers, or mushrooms and pepperonis, or olives and pepperonis. So here are my 4 bell peppers. Here are my 4 bell peppers. I'm going to set those aside. My mushrooms, I'm going to draw those out. And remind your kids when they do their mushrooms, that you want them to put the drawings on the back of the mushroom. So here's a mushroom. And here is a mushroom. Three. 4. And now I'm going to make olives. To make olives, you are going to cut around like you did your pepperoni. And then you're going to fold it in half And then you're going to cut just a little semicircle so you have pepperonis or olives. That's a pretty big one. So I'm going to trim this one down. That's a better olive. So I'm going to do 4 of those. Fold it in half. And then cut out the center. And I've got another olive. And I got another olive and one more olive. And I've got my 4th olive. Okay, so now I'm going to make my veggie pizza. And again, I'm going to take my pizza. I'm going to fold it in half. And I'm going to fold it in half again. So now I've got my 4 parts. So all I have to do is cut it on the lines, the folds. So I've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now I'm going to decorate the piece. So I'm going to put 3 dots of glue. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put a olive, a mushroom, and so here's one slice of pizza. And a mushroom escape. And have your kids put their vegetables wherever. I mean, because a pizza is never perfect. They're not always in the same spot. So here's a slice 2. Slice 3. Just burned myself. That's okay. And slice 4. So I'm going to take my plate and I'm going to glue my pieces onto the plate. And here's my fourths. So I have, don't want that on my computer. Good. So here is my fourths. Again, split equally into 4 pieces. Again, here is my half, split equally into 2 pieces. So you have a great bulletin board of fourths and halves. And I hope you enjoyed this fraction pizza lesson and have fun with it with your kids. Thanks. Bye.